Hello and welcome to the Paper Prototypes podcast. I'm here with my guest Pavel, and today we're going to be talking about Polylithic, a low poly, very colorful Stone Age game. So, Pavel, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into game design?
Yeah, hello. Again, my name is Pavel. I am the lead of a small indie studio in a town of nowhere called Zlín. We are from Czech Republic, uh, and I always wanted to make the games since I was a kid. I played a lot of games back then, and I've tried to do the prototypes, but it took me quite long to become a proper game developer, and Polylithic is one, I would say, like our first try to break the ground and release something on Steam. We managed to release one little small game in between when we were developing Polylithic, but it's like first try to do something bigger.
And what exactly is Polylithic for a lot of the audience listening?
Uh, I can read the description on Steam page, but it's basically the third-person crafting survival. We set it in the Paleolithic Neolithic era, since we thought could be interesting to map the social development of the people. You start as a hunter and gatherer, and then you progress through the ages, and you settle down eventually and start farming. So, our game has these two eras. Also, you are not doing everything alone. That's a change from the ordinary crafting survivals. We have this tribe management thing in our game. So you can give tasks to the other tribe members and automate, like in the prehistoric ages, your village. So yeah, that was the idea.
So you mentioned that you're a team lead on the project. How did your team come together?
Uh, Basically, if I remember it right, we met online, the first bunch of guys, and the rest just come through the open door here in the offices and tell us, "Hey, I would love to work for you," and I say, "Okay." So we are really a small team of. And now we are about 8 people or 7. But we start with 3 guys just setting up the game, and we are still doing this on our free time, on the evenings, on the weekends, since our main job is a little bit different.
And is this your first time managing a team or a game development effort, or
Uh, yeah, since we are that small, when we started, I was the one doing all from art to marketing. I was team lead before in my previous company, but I'm not considering myself as a project uh, manager or that kind of man. I'm just the only one who wants to do it or have time to do it. So yeah, we are using Trello, and I'm the one that dumping task in the archive, but that's it.
and how
So
come?
because yeah, sorry, I just want to explain myself a little bit better.
No, of
uh, I
course.
I come from the digital design background. I used to make websites and lots of the apps, and I believe I won some awards for the website. So, but I gradually started to hate this, and start working on my live or my bedroom on the assets. The story was that before I founded Polyperfect, I won't always make the games. I've already told you that, but I started creating these assets for Unity because I wanted to learn how the process goes. So that's what I was doing, and they became quite popular. We become one of the 10 most successful publishers back then in the asset store, so that allows me to like at least start the company and use some money for the game development and hire some friends and help. So I'm more like illustrator, animator, and design guy than like management. That's yeah.
So, if your asset pack hadn't done as well, would you have still been able to fund a team and put one together?
Uh, I believe I would have to find another way to do that, like finding an investor or a publisher. Uh, our like way of thinking was that, hey, let's try to use our packs and see if they are working and if you can actually use them to build a proper game. And that's how we started to work on the Polylithic. It was not a good idea. We just bunch everything together and it became like this prehistoric game. So I advise lots of indie take your time with the pre-production era, do your research, know your fan base. Do something else than we did. But I would say like the nice thing about all of it was that we were missing some of these parts. So we had to develop new assets. We have to develop a whole system for creating crafting game for Unity, and this became our like funding. So actually, we were able to build a game because we were selling these assets online, and we didn't need any like external help, any like grant or publisher.
That's a pretty cool story to be able to tell.
I don't know. Like, yeah, the problem with it is that the industry is like rapidly changing and switching. We still like have to find a new ways how to find our stuff. Also, like, the bigger the project is, the more expensive is. So yeah, but back then I've never heard about the publishers or something like that. But when we now have the game and we were in some like the events and we were showing it to the people, we actually like were talking to the lot publisher, a lot of like great companies, but we even like have the deal secured, but then the Unity fiasco came up, and everyone was like, "We don't want to deal with your project anymore since it's made in Unity." It was like sad, but we just needed to then release the game in early access because we didn't have more money to fund it. So that was our story. We are now in the early access. We are still like trying to like do the game properly. We don't want to be another early access like not finishing project. So we are continue in developing. We are waiting for the first money from Steam. It takes a while, and yeah, we will be using that for finishing the project. But unfortunately, it was a lot of other games were released in that area, and we still not managed to secure a whole like being a company being with this. So we need to do other stuff as well.
Why did you decide to set your game in the Stone Age specifically? Because there's not. I'm gonna say a niche area of
Mm.
human history for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, you are right. That was our thinking as well. We thought that there is not that many games there, so this could be interesting. Uh, and then we find out when like we were close to finishing or releasing in early access, there are actually lots of them. Like nowadays there are tens of survivals coming out, and this was not the case when we started. So yeah, it's really tough, I would say, for indies nowadays, with lots of these projects being released every week, and even like the big games. So you need to find a way. Our way was that when we did at least like some smaller research, we find out that like the prehistoric stuff is always brown, grindy, dirty, and realistic. So we just took the artistic approach and add saturation in Photoshop as much as possible until eyes bleed, and then we were like, okay, at least people will remember our game because it's just these colors. They are stupidly vibrant, but yeah. One funny story, I was showing the game in Prague this week, and some guy come to us, and we have like these roll-ups and lots of these marketing materials with our design and with our art that was created, I believe, 3 years ago when we started the project. And he was like, really, like seriously, hey guys, why are you copying GTA 6? Like because he saw the newly released trailer in like Wednesday or Tuesday was it, and he thought that we then it's like create a whole game out of it. Like, but yeah, like yeah, it's vibrant, it's purple, so yeah, we are on trend.
How come you
If you
decided to go for such a vibrant color palette for the game? Because I think that's the most visually striking aspect for me, but
uh
also I think the most anachronistic comparatively to a lot of the other stuff going on in the game.
mm, uh yeah, we just want to make something like different. I was also inspired by some other indie stuff like Hades. That wasn't expecting like comic style illustration when we talk about the Asian like Greek mythos. So yeah, and we as a company was always we found our stuff on the visuals and on the design. That's like what I believe in. But in Polylithic, we were a little bit tamed because we needed to use our assets, and the goal was just to push them as far as possible, even like technically to bring the low poly aesthetic to the modern era. So we did lots of like post processing, volumetrics, and like little clever things like technically around it, so we can show our users, hey, you can really like get to this level with the stuff. But if we are talking about our other games, like the small one or one we are also working now, we will like bring the artistic part of the game way more there. We are like we love that, and I believe like in Czechs we have a history with these art projects. So yeah.
Are you worried that the Stone Age offers enough content to be able to develop enough about it? Comparatively, because of the low level of technology that the Stone Age offers.
Mm-hmm. Cool question. It's a little bit. I can see it could be a problem. That's why we are also, like as I said in the beginning, now really working hard on the second era when the aspect of like like farming and building proper villages will come to play, and we have like many new technologies there. You will be able to tame the animal hopefully and breed them. Yeah, we prepare whole modular sets so you can build tall and big structures. This could be fun, I would say. Our game is also a little bit different from these survival games because with the story, we have some like hidden things here and there. There are some sci-fi elements to it that I don't want to spoil, but we are also having one like member of the team that is doing his PhD on the storytelling there. So hopefully he will be able to bring something interesting there. But this will come to the game later.
Well, that leads me to my next question. I was going to ask, how far do you plan to blur the line between myth and reality?
Mm,
Because I noticed one of the quests was like I needed to fight this mythical white bear, but you could easily just make it, it's a bear with a genetic condition, and so they interpret it as a
mm,
spiritual bear, or you could lean into it and make it an actual mythical figure depending on how the player wants to see it. So how
mm,
far do
mm.
you personally want to push that myth versus reality aspect comparatively to considering like how much shamanism and mysticism played an important role during this era?
Hmm. That's a really interesting question. It would be more about our story lead, but I feel that in building game in the surface, and if you go a little bit down, you find these weird things that doesn't add up, and if you find them all, you can like paste together the story that you've probably learned that this is probably not the prehistoric era we know it. It could be a different planet and so on. Again, we have some like sci-fi element that you can find around the map, like these different points of interest in. There is a one goal for a player to build the monument. This is long-term thing. You need the other tribe members for it, and you are doing this basically by finding a weird. For you, it's a magical, but they are like technology stuff that you don't understand these parts on the map, and you use them for the monument. But I like the way how you are like phrasing this question, and I need to raise this with the team. We like outline our like story. We have some like design document for it, but I don't think that we went that deep now. We also planning like to introduce story point 02. That's what we are working. We want to add more NPCs, more fun quests, more quirky things that like for example there will be some quest around mushrooms that you can't get right now with some elements on the game that we have but we can't use right now. Like we programmed that you can also control the animals but there is no use for it, so we can maybe use it there. And then there will be also like story point 3.0 when everything will be finished. So yeah, good questions, and yeah, we need to talk about it more.
Has
If we, yeah, because for us it was like the main thing is like the survival aspect and the crafting aspect and building stuff aspect, and the story in this kind of genre is not that important, so we make it more hidden and for just the people who want to explore it. So yeah.
have there been any challenges when it comes to balancing your game so far? Because trying to do management can be quite difficult. I personally found that there it was really hard to find a balance between the number of
Mm,
tribes people I had and the amount of food they were consuming.
okay. So you, okay, you did the research. You play our game, and you managed to create the tribe members. Like that's great. Yeah, it's tough. Like every aspect of a game, like I would say it's hard to balance since you have these all people playing your game, and sometimes it's like half of them are like this combat sucks. Like I cannot kill a single animal, and the other half is like your combat is so simple, like it's not challenging enough, and you need to properly like balance this. So basically, when this happened, we just add toggle to settings. If there are like people that loves one thing and there is the ones that love opposite, we just add the toggle. And in our game, we have if we have some secret codes there. So when the game designer or we are playing it, we can hit it, and suddenly every variable is exposed, and we can tweak it and change it. And we did the overall balance like numbers time, and we need to do it more since every feature you add in the game a little bit breaks overall balance. So now we are more focusing on the combat, also like the tribe members, so there could be actually handy when you want to kill something, but at the same time you don't want them to be killed, but you don't want them to be overpowered and like help you to kill everything. So yeah, it's if every kind of game it's it's a lot hidden things around it.
I made the mistake. My weapon broke
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have anything to kill a boar, so I ran back to my
Yeah.
tribe's people. So I was like,
Uh,
go deal with it, but I didn't give them a weapon. So this boar just wiped out my tribe.
true.
I was like, what do I do now?
Like the only thing you can do is just run to the cliff and hope that boar will follow you, or like to the river. There are these like things that people take advantage of. Like I was amazed that a lot of people are able to kill like as a first animal the deer. I thought that you need to have the range weapons to that, but they always bug him, like on the edge of these cliffs, and so yeah. Yeah, and yeah, you are true. You have to give the tri-member weapons, and probably we need to visualize it somehow that this tri-member is not prepared for a fight. Uh, yeah, good ideas, and most of these things that people are like advising us, we have it on our like Trello board for a year, but there is just so much like that small team of group of friends can do. So we are just now focusing on those most important stuff. That's the era 2, and also we will be quite soon hopefully releasing some update so we can now store the data of the fort creation and height and trees as well. So now you will be able, if you chop down the trees and go back, it will not be there, or if you change the terrain, it should stick, and we need that for the second era. So yeah, so that's the two area we are fighting because a lot of people were not satisfied with it. We as well. We introduced in the latest patch the locking that I believe helped some of the people. And yeah, we know we know everything. We are reading all of it and trying to listen to the community as much as possible.
How do you decide with all the feedback that you're getting which updates are the most important to put out in your
Mm.
current state of your game?
Mm. We create some table. We are like evaluating everything, giving it priority, like the stuff that are easy to do, like, will be done first, and then there are the bigger things that are important for the game. That we are working also, but the problem is that they take some time, and I believe people are expecting from early access game to release new stuff quite uh, quite often. Uh, we trying to do it on the week basis, but yeah, these bigger things need more time, so that's it. But I have some users that are like writing me on Discord every day, like, "Hey, when there will be a new feature," and when we like deliver it, they like, "Hey, thanks. When there will be another one," like. So yeah, it's important to say that like game development takes time and it's quite like hard thing to do. Yeah, and it's sometimes like there are way bigger like teams and way bigger games, and it takes way longer than us. But yeah, that's just how it is.
I will say I did find the melee combat a little janky, but
Mm.
I was wondering if you did that on purpose just because that really emphasized like me to use ranged weapons, and I felt like it was a good way to be like, okay, it is exhausting to go out and try to club a chicken to death, so it would make sense for me to try to invent a new way to hunt an animal that would make things easier on me so I have more time to do something else other than spend 90% of my time running through the forest trying to club a chicken.
That's great. I will say people that the basic bare truth is that Uh, we are not that skilled about combat as I would love to be. The thing is that we find out that like developing whole combat system can be a quite demanding task, and you need like proper technical animator there, also someone like in the deep knowledge of like fighting mechanics. The problem with us that we like are trying to do everything our own. The animation is also sometimes hard for us, like to develop the combo system and so on. And the main like thing also is that like one part of the team has a different idea of the combat and the rest of it. So we are trying to find a balance. It's like our lead developer.
Okay, Discord had a whoopsie, so that's why we're cutting back here. Pavel, take it away.
Oh, I thought that you will be asking me the question again. But because I don't know where I stopped, but you asked me why the combat is so janky, and you thought that this is on purpose. It's not actually. It's just because like developing proper fighting mechanics is hard. We never did that, so we are learning and trying to improve it. That's the reason in nutshell.
So, how did you come up with the idea that you wanted to add migration to your game as well?
That's something that our game designer come with. That was important for him to. Like it was the part of the living in these ages when you were gathering and hunting. You have to move where the animals are, right? So you have to migrate, and that's how this became a thing. It was quite, and it's quite challenging do it gamey like thing or visualization. That's why for now we did this like 4 quests, and with each of them, with each migration, you move with the time. But later on, we want to introduce seasons as well. So you will be having this summer and winter thing, and based on that, you will also do the farming and hunting. But yeah, it's like the people were living back in the Neolithic, Paleolithic era. They migrate to because they eventually hunt down all of the animals, and also the animals were coming for the food and change their location. So yeah.
Um, did you design the map around migration, or was migration something you added to the map? Because when I was going through the document that you sent, I noted your game designer had the whole like area mapped out around partially where like migrations would take place.
Mm, mm, mm. Uh, we want to. We are generating our map right now in the game, but based on our like quite clever or cool technology, and eventually the idea was that we want to have this proper sandbox game when you can generate the map as you want, and the migration still needs to work there. So the migration now it's just based on the map that is like the first one that we generated, and we are like polishing the algorithm so it looks good and works with it. But later on, it should work with any other maps.
Is migration a good way to cordon off harder areas of the map in a way to help piecemeal
Mm.
the different ways technology come? Because the first migration, just chickens, and then I noticed boars got introduced, and then mammoths got introduced, and it gets more complex with every migration I do.
Okay, okay, it's great that you are seeing this like this. The fact is that the boars are there since start. The mammoth you can see them if you are look just from the first camp you can see them over the rivers. So we are now just using the migration to unlocking the new technologies. So when you like do the migration, 1 year's pass or some time passes, you unlock more technologies. So you're basically forced to do this for migration when you are hunters, and then the migration stops. You are settled down and you start the farming. Back when we release demo, we use a different thing that we have on the story. There is this fog, mist, illness. Uh, that's what we were using to limit the area when players can go. But now we are doing it just by introducing, I would say, harsher animals in these more distant stuff. So you can find a saber tooth or some more dangerous things more on the edges of the map. One thing that is also probably not clear from the start is that you have to also care about the fire in the village, because the fire keeps the predators away, and it also depends how much food you have on storage. And yeah, and if you are like having these fireplaces lit and also these other torches, first night it's for free for every player. Nothing happens there. In second night we are starting to generate some predators, and in the third there are also saber tooth added. So the games gets progressively harder with each night.
That makes sense. I don't know. I guess that by the time I figured out that I was supposed to keep the fire going is
Mm.
also the time I started adding more people to make more food. So I guess I discovered that by accident.
Yeah, cool. That's cool. And yeah, we are like watching our users or players to how they play the game, and we will be balancing it based on this.
Do you have any other ideas that you want to expand on for the tribe or for your base camp? Any
Mhm.
plans for various personalities of your tribesmen or
Mhm.
upgrades that they'll be able to specialize in?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm seeing it like in my head. It's more like a Sims simulator with or medieval dynasty banished kind of game. I've never played those second two, but people are telling me that this is where we are. And we have now like more animations that we want to introduce to them. So when they are, for example, uh, they bored, they start like playing some instruments or dance, or when they start raining, they go inside. And we will be having more NPCs in the camp as well that has some cool quest and story. Yeah, we see that there's a lot of potential, lots of also AI tweakings, so they are behaving more naturally, and they are eventually like they are helping you. Now they are like I'm using them most likely for gathering stuff. That's quite helpful. That's also why like you need when you are playing solo, you need to like hold hit and hold E for gathering. It takes a while, so it looks like grinding or it's annoying, and that's how we push players to add a new tribe members that will help them with this. And then you can automate some kind of like crafting stuff, so you can have a one tribe member to do one thing, the other would do the second thing, and the third like combine it. The clever thing from the start is just generating enough tribe members to like automate the food for the tribe. You did that. Also, every type of food is worth different different like value of the food. For the global happiness, it would be great if you have variety in them. We had also like I just remember, and we have it coded, but I don't believe it's in the game. But you are leveling the tribe members. That's what's happening. But if you are able to get one tribe member to a level 10, you can decide if you want to convert it to the elder of the tribe, and he will give you some passive bonus, but he will stop working. So this will be also introduced. So yeah, I believe there is a lot of potential to make it more like fun, interesting, and that's what we want to do as well.
So your art style is, I want to say, like one of the main attractions I think a lot of people are going to have with how vibrant and colorful things are.
Mm.
Um, does it present any unique challenges? while utilizing that art style, because I personally found finding certain items being highlighted kind of difficult sometimes, just
Mm,
because it's very bright green and purple, and then the highlight is a bright yellow, and you get like that meshing of the
mm.
bright colors too much.
Yeah, yeah, could be. We found some users with some particle color uh, disadvantages. Could be a little bit struggling, but with the different ones, they are pretty glad because there is strong contrast. But in the settings, that's why we introduce. You can set the color of the highlight that you want, so you can like decide if you want like this blue one that is completely like different from everything else if you are not seeing it, or a red one. So that's we added like quite early to the settings. uh yeah, it can be challenging. The thing I'm now like a little bit pushing even more is to bring even more uniqueness to the style, since it's quite hard. It's based on our assets that are like, I feel a little bit generic, and that's good because you can use it in any kind of game. You can build, like, if you want, you can build a VR experience or strategy top down. Like it should work, but we are trying to make it a little bit more our own. So now I'm pushing for some even like more artistic approach for some certain areas. So yeah, we will see how that turns out. Uh, yeah, it is what it is. Like it's colorful, it's different. It's sometimes it could be hard for someone users, but we are trying to like do this little small tweaks. For example, we now a little bit change how the camera works. So if you are in the forest, you should see way more because like these tree crowns are hidden way better. Like or yeah, like these small fixes that when you rotate the camera with cursor, we hide you the cursor so you don't move it actually, and you don't need to move it back. Yeah. Again, we are listening and trying to do it, but at the same point, we want still to make our game. We have our vision, our style, and that's what we don't want to change, obviously.
So it's been obvious to me since we've been talking that you've been learning a lot since your early access release. What have also like been the most important lessons that you've learned so far having released onto early access?
Mm-hmm. Mm. Uh, cool question. I've never thought about it because our early access starts a little bit sooner. We release our demo in the Steam Next Fest. That was biggest thing for us. Then I believe like 10,000 people played our game, so it was a lot. We got a lot of feedback, so we start working. That was the first time we got the feedback, and I believe like we managed like to do at least 90 things, 90% of the things, and that's why like the early access was quite better from the demo. The bigger things is that for me, what I'm learning is that every player is different. Everyone plays the game differently, and sometimes someone is really vocal about like the stuff he doesn't like, and like how we can like how we even like let it happen. And I just know that I've got the email 1 hour ago when someone tells me this is the best thing about the game. So, like the variety of the players, it's quite interesting, and everyone like some of our players don't care about the quest and care about the text. They even don't do the first one, and they just run to the to the wilderness, and then they are killed. Yeah. We were also like showing this game in some events, and the feedback you get there is completely different from the players because like those are game developers, so they are looking for something else as well. uh, yeah, like the takeaway is that you need to listen carefully and looking for patterns. If there is something that you see more than 3 times, it's probably problem, and you need to prioritize that. So that's how we like learned like that combat is not ideal or something like that. You have to also like the play. Some of the players have their solutions to the problem, and you have to like really carefully study what they are struggling with because the solution is in most cases not the right one. Yeah. Also, one fun thing was that there was a guy who told us how you cannot have like in the first like release in the early access how you cannot have like the binding like of the keys that you can change to any keys that you want, and you need to do that like you are losing at least 10% of the users. So we did that like in about week or like couple of days, and then the number of users dropped actually, but it was not because of that, but like there was none increase. None of us was like, hey, it's great that you have it there. Like it was just one really vocal guy that really was angry about it.
Speaking of people reacting, how has it been building a community for your game and fostering an audience?
Mm, mm. We have like we are for that we are using our Discord. I believe there are some people, some are trying to reach us like personally and like asking for the new stuff, and that's great, and it's always like great to talk with someone. I believe there is lots that we can like do, and the first thing we need to show that we really care and we are like working on the game. I don't believe that we have that the biggest community out there, but we have, at the same time we have couple hundred people on the Discord. It's because our assets as well, so about 800 people, but most of them are like silent and waiting new stuff. Also, like there is some messaging going on the Steam page, but now it's more, I would say, more silent. When we released the game, there was actually a lot, and it was like hard. Like the first feedback that we got, it was like about couple hundred messages, and that was a lot. I was afraid that we will not manage that, but it slowed down with the time. There were also like some of them have like for A4 like page of like things and ideas, and it was really great. But for us, it was like, oh, we don't want to like read all of it. Like there's so like if you want to write the developer something, like just try to write it in like these small points and be like really fast with it and strict, because yeah, that helps.
Did you get a lot of positive reception from, I think it was, I'm not sure how many weeks ago, I believe Steam threw together, it was like a Czech and Slovak Steam
Mm.
Fest?
Yeah. That's something that's happening every year. Uh, that's what my friends are in the Czech are like doing, and it's like event that you needs to actually like register for. So it was not like uh, I would say what's the word like it was not automated, but yeah, that's but it was great. The problem with that event was that we thought that Steam would be promoting it as like a ordinary like event, and he did it eventually, but on the last day of the event, it took for a whole week, but and you can see it in the streams because like when were doing the first stream, there was about 100 people there, and when we were doing the second one on the last day, when Steam actually like started to promote the event, we have like 3,000 people there. So my advice for the other indies, if they want to like release on the Steam, is that use the leverage of the Steam. It will be the biggest promoter that you can get. So it's good to learn how the Steam operates, what the Steam fest are, and how like all these different events work there. Because yeah, if like Steam promotes your game, you eventually like you get lots of more like attention and views than you if you do like promo on socials or some PR on some magazines. That didn't work for us that well.
So you would say when Steam does these festivals that focus on, um, I guess, relatively small countries, that it actually does help your sales?
Uh, I would say my point was just like learn how to operate within the Steam. There are lots of these hidden rules, how many wish lists you need to have before launching, how many reviews you need to do after the launch, how many sales it's good to have with 1 week. So it's good to be prepared. It's good to do some promo at least like half a year before launching, at least on the Steam. So you got just this wish list and you have some initial push because like Steam is learning about your game, and if he sees it's interesting, he wants to promote you more, and otherwise. And also it's good to like use the marketing tool you have like on the Steam, like you can like highlight your game 5 times in the life of the game, and you can like be one time on the Steam Fest. You can like register for it and do the demo and so on. Like there is a lot, but that's the Steam. That's the platform. There are other platforms for sure, like the Epic or Nintendo consoles. So we are also looking for porting our game, but we want to finish it first. Like we want to like end the early access and then look for the ways where we can also put our game.
So you also, it's we had a little delay in scheduling just because you were at GDS in Prague. What is GDS and how was your game received while you were there?
Mm-hmm. In our country, there are like these big conferences, events. One is in Brno, that's a game access conference, and then there is in Prague one, and it's a game developer session, I believe. It was like it has like 20 years of history. It was more about the game developers, but this year was first that was open to students as well. It was quite costly, so to be there wasn't cheap. And we were just in the indie section with other indies games. And yeah, these kind of events are good to meet the people and networking and create some relationships. There are also these like there should be some investors and publishers that you can talk with. You can also pitch your game, stream your game. A lot of these opportunities. My favorite thing about the GDS was that I was able to take a photo with creator of Tetris game. It was fun for my wife as well because we seen the movie like month ago. So yeah, I have like yeah, he was there, and also then you like the other devs are talking to you, and I met a guy that was like quite amazed about our UI, and he really likes it, so he came back because I was not on the stand at that moment, and then I learned out that he was like part of the Rockstar, and he was working on the UI of Red Dead Redemption 2 and GTA 6. And it was like, hey guy, you are like amazing, like these animations, that's so super. And I was like, hey, we copied it from you actually. Yeah, like these moments when someone like, or I met the CEO of Ashborn Games. They just released the big Czech game, The Last Train Home. It's amazing.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that's been on my wish list forever.
yeah, yeah, you should give it a try. I knew a few guys from them, but I didn't knew the CEO, right? So I was like, "Hey, congrats to release the game," and he was like, "Hey, congrats to you. We really like your game." And they like these kind of moments is always like really helpful. And everyone in these like events, because everyone knows how like doing the games is hard. Everyone is so nice. It never happened to me in any other like industry or events, but here everyone, hey, how we can help? Hey, you have amazing game. So yeah, that's cool. But then you come home and see that like the wish lists are still the same, the purchases are still the same, and the players are angry at you at the same time. So it's a little bit different kind of people that are visiting these conferences than the normal player than just I want to play a good game, right? So yeah,
So
yeah, it's fun. Sorry.
oh no, it's okay. Most people are aware that when you develop a game, you're gonna have to adopt a lot of skills. You're gonna have to be the artist. You're gonna have to be
Mm.
the musician, the programmer, the designer. But there's also the hidden skills that you got to pick up, such as you got to be the marketer. And from what you're telling me, there's also even hidden skills like utilizing Steam's tools. How prepared for you were you for all these extra skills that you basically need to pick up to be a game developer and survive in this industry?
Not at all. But but like doing the game actually helps. Like that's why we did the small one. That was just our summer thing, and it was for internship goals, and we managed to release it. I believe like a year sooner. So that's when we completely like bunked, and we we have like 300 wish lists when we were launching the game, and we did everything wrong, but we learned, and it's like just great. Good thing is just do it and learn it by doing so. And I've heard this saying that like on Steam, the third game actually starts to generating some revenue. So yeah, it's about the failing and learning by it. Also helped that we were like talking with lots of these publishers and investors. Some of them were like willing to share some knowledge with us. That was like great. Some of them not. And but yeah, lot of stuff. The For me, the biggest thing was that's coming from the digital design industry. When you just have a client, you do something for him, you know how this will be, like how this will cost, and when you will be get paid. And it was completely like mind blowing that this game industry is way different. Like you spend 3 years working on something, hoping that someone will like it in the end. And also, I see a lot of the similarities with the movie industry and this kind of approach, because you need some producer to do the game, you need these investors, grants, so on. So that's way similar to the like movies and series how this working. So yeah, it could be helpful coming from that industry as well.
So, final question being, I guess it's going to be a little bit of a two-parter. What is the roadmap looking forward, and is there anything at all that you'd be willing to disclose here that you haven't
Mhm.
disclosed anywhere else?
Okay. Oh, yeah. We have like our I would say it's not a roadmap because we don't want to do like the thing that someone like say this will be this month and it's not in the end. But we have like this plan on our Steam page, on our blog as well. There is a list of features that we are not now working on, so people know, and we are updating it and checking it when it's done. Uh, but we are thinking that we don't want to be in the early access forever. I'm thinking about 1 year to be there and then release the 1.0 and see if people are interesting at all for us to continue. One thing that could be quite interesting but also difficult would be if the game is successful and people likes it, to add a new eras to it as well. So eventually, like adding a bronze era or adding like medieval era, so you can like progress for the time. But that's so far away. So that's not in the table. Also, I just remember a lot of people were requesting like this co-op thing. We didn't add it there because it was so hard and challenging for us to do it. And it's always better to have this in mind and start with this and start creating game around it. And that was not our case, but yeah, we might eventually edit at least some like co-op for few people, not a fully multiplayer. It would be great to have it there, but yeah, again, for that we need to sell a couple more copies. For now, it's like that we are planning and we're like used to every like single penny we earn from the game to like polish it, make it better, and yeah, we will see if people are still interesting when we like finish that.
All right. So, is there anything you want to shout out while you're here? Is there any special links to channels or social media you want to shout out? Or I had one guy shout out a local pizza place.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's hard to think this on spot. Hey, if you are interested, check out our Polyperfect company page. I believe there are lots of cool stuff that you can use for your game development. We actually sold already over 100,000 so far, like stuff like packages and so on. So like tens of thousand game developers are using our like, stuff for their game. So yeah, check it out. I believe it's interesting. And also, you can follow me on my Instagram, I would say, because I'm the visual guy. I like the Instagram the most. I have some cool personal projects. I spent 7 years creating the biggest illustration on the world. That is, I recreated my whole hometown in like as an illustration, and I have the parts of that illustration hang out over the city. The biggest part of it, it's 20 meters big, like real thing out there, and I have one 3 meters long in my home. And that's I will be like I'm now developing the researching the style for the upcoming like some small little thing project that would be linked to this. And if you follow me on there, you will see what it's about. But it should be more about like nowadays, like everything is generated, right? We have these AI tools. The games are looking more and more the same, and it's a little bit, I would say, chemical or like without the human touch. That's why I really like the indies. They are bringing their own like unique approach there. Some handmade stuff. We have also like one team here in Czech that is just amazing, really successful. They are calling Amanita and they are doing their games. And I'm just now trying to develop my own personal stuff that would be about creating the game in the real world first and then move it to the digital space. So yeah.
All right. Seems like there's a lot of links people are gonna want to
Ah,
check out.
okay. Just the polyperfect. Sorry for like pushing this.
No, that's literally the place where it goes. So I got to do my own shout outs at the end anyway.
Mm.
Everyone follow me as Paper Prototypes on Twitter. I'm also on Threads and Blue Sky, although I rarely go there. And then in the description, not only will you find all of the stuff that Pavel shot out, but you'll also find my linked tree if you want to find my socials easier that way, including my Ko-Fi. That way you can support the podcast if you would like to. And I think that covers everything. So until the next episode, bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.